everybody, it's Chainsaw Reacts. Guys, the newest episode of The Flash, Season 2, Episode 21, The Runaway Dinosaur, just finished airing on TV, and I'm here to review / just talk about the episode. If you haven't seen the newest episode of The Flash, The Runaway Dinosaur, the one I'm reviewing, click away. I'm getting into spoilers in this review. You have been warned. I'm getting into spoilers in this review for this episode. You've been warned. Okay, let's jump into this episode. So before I get to all of the Speed Force stuff and what's going on with Barry, which was a huge part of the episode, very emotional, I quickly want to touch on the very end, the kind of post-credit scene to this episode after the logo popped up, was Zoom and his army. Now, they've teased this, they've talked about this, and I was expecting that we were going to get some type of tease at the end of tonight's episode, but I wasn't really sure if they were going to show them or whatever, and they had some running shots of different characters, like there's a lightning character, and there's a character that looks like Firestorm from Earth 2, like it's like a green version, like it had green fire or whatever, and it was kind of bizarre, and seeing all these this huge variety of metahumans is really hard to like focus on a bunch of them and see, well, what could they all be about? So I'm very curious to know what's going to happen on next week's episode. Now, I know on next week's episode, involved with this huge crowd of metahumans from Earth 2 that Zoom brought over for his army, is led by Black Siren, aka Laurel Lance from Earth 2. So we're going to get Laurel Lance and Earth 2 coming over next week's episode. So I'm hoping that we'll get to see a bunch of these metahumans go crazy. They showed a brief little trailer for next week's episode. I think I saw a hawk person that's from Earth 2, like flying or something like that, so who knows. But seeing that final shot and seeing that little scene with Zoom basically talking to his army of metahumans from Earth 2 was pretty badass, so I had to mention that real fast. So I'm really excited for next week's episode for sure. Now, let's get to the main focus of this episode, which is Barry and the Speed Force. Now, last week's episode, everybody thought, including myself, for a couple of minutes before the trailer for this week's episode aired, Barry died. Like, I thought they actually killed Barry Allen. Shocking, ballsy, but I really thought they did. So obviously they didn't, and he was in the Speed Force, and he talked to the Speed Force taking many different forms. Joe West, then took the form of Iris West, then took the form of his actual dad, Henry Allen, and then took the form of his mother. And it was very emotional, especially the mother scene, which I'll get to in a little bit. But him having the conversation about learning that he's talking to the Speed Force by the Speed Force acting like Joe West, him talking to Iris West, aka the Speed Force, about their first kiss, which was null and void in the first season when Barry went back in time a day, I believe, and changed a lot of things, including the kiss and Cisco's death for Mia Barthon. And then he actually was taken to the gravesite of his mother, and there was the Speed Force pretending to be his dad, Henry Allen. And it was emotional, and you learn through this little piece of information, him at the gravestone of his mother in the Speed Force, he's never been. He's never been there, all that kind of stuff. So it was like, you would have thought Barry Allen would have went to his mother's gravesite, would have went to the cemetery to visit her, and that wasn't the case. And I think that was starting to get a little bit emotional, like hearing, even though it's not his dad, it's sounding a lot like his dad. There was a particular line that the Speed Force, Henry Allen, said that saved a lot of lives. And the way he said the line, saved a lot of lives, it's exactly from Season 1. He says the exact same way in Season 1, where he says, you know, he's saving a lot of lives, talking about the Flash, even though we were kind of figuring out, okay, Henry Allen knows he's the Flash in Season 1, but the way he said the line, exactly like Season 1, his dad, Henry Allen. Now, getting to the main thing here. Now, even though it's not his actual mom, the Speed Force mom, and it was emotional, and it really hit me hard, because that's the whole reason why he is this hero. He could have easily saved her. He didn't. And he sometimes regrets it, but at the end of the day, it's her that pushes him forward. It's her that makes him the person he is. And even though it's not really his mom, the way that this came across and the way that he was speaking to her, and then reading the book, which was based off the title, The Runaway Dinosaur, and him reciting it line by line, and her sitting there flipping through the pages and he's just reading it. It was very emotional, and I felt this was a very powerful episode. This episode could have easily been kind of lazy, kind of just, we're just trying to bring it back into the mix. They put a lot of heart and a lot of emotional elements into this episode to make it a very strong episode, to really bring back what is the main core of Barry Allen. He kept running away from the Speed Force, being different people. And finally, when the Speed Force turned into his mom, that's when things changed. And after he just finally connected and understood why he was the Flash, why the Speed Force chose him to be the Flash, the Speed Force, as his mother, said, "You are ready." And he became the Flash. Now, what really hit me hard, too, at the very end, and I keep saying it because it's the truth, it's not his real mom, but I'm guaranteeing you if it was his real mother, which it felt like it was at some moments, Speed Force mom says, "Run, Barry, run." She says the line. Whew, it was good. It was good. Good stuff. Now, next thing I do want to talk about is Jessie Quick. Because Wally West gets up from getting hit by the Speed Force, or not Speed Force, but by the dark matter, and, he's taken home. He's not really involved in the episode. There was one little instance where Joe thinks, well, maybe he has the Speed Force, so he drops a mug, and Wally has no idea what the hell his dad's doing. But what really intrigued me, and if you're not really paying attention, you might have missed it. It happened pretty fast. It was when Barry just walks up to Jessie, as she's laying in a hospital bed at Star Labs. He touches her hand, and you see the lightning from his hand go to her hand, and she wakes up. I'm sorry, people. Maybe Wally doesn't have the Speed Force yet. Maybe they're holding that off. But I'm pretty sure Jessie Quick just got the Speed Force. I don't know, because why would they intentionally show it for a couple seconds? You see that lightning just slowly go from his hand to her hand. I don't know, but something tells me there's more to this than just, it's just gonna wake her up. There's something more to this. But overall, this was a great episode. I really did enjoy it. I loved it. I thought it was just a really good episode to get back to the core of why he is the Flash. And to see the different incarnations or the different Speed Force turning into different people and having these conversations with him. Very emotional stuff. This episode, of course, I was supposed to say this at the very beginning of the review, but I didn't. But this episode was the one directed by Kevin Smith. I think he did a great job. I'm glad that he's coming back for an episode, or maybe even more in Season 3. But I think he did a great job. But overall, this is a great episode. A lot of emotional elements. Seeing the mom, even though it's not really the mom, but you get my point. Still awesome. And to see the Flash, he is back. And I don't know what's going to happen between Zoom and Caitlin. I don't know what's going on. Maybe Caitlin is like, if I stay with Zoom, he won't kill my friends. I don't want to be on his side. So it's going to be very interesting to see how that all handles out with Zoom and Caitlin. We did get a lot of that. So hopefully next week's episode will answer some questions of why Caitlin is probably going to stay with Zoom even though she doesn't want to. But, it's a whole dilemma thing. So, anyways, guys, let me know in the comment section below what you thought about this episode. Thank you so much for watching my review to this episode. Peace out.